Greetings everyone, this is the Security channel, and today I'll be taking a look at Norton's brand new beta. They call it Norton Security from now on, so it's no longer Norton Internet Security, it's just Norton Security, and this is the first public beta that they have released. As you've probably already noticed, the user interface has been completely changed, and now it's all white instead of dark. Now this may be a good change for some like me it's neutral, and for some, it may be a downgrade. But I'm not going to comment too much on the user interface because it's a matter of your choice, your opinion. But for me, I think the previous one was pretty good. I had no issues with it, and this one works pretty well too. So the core of the user interface is still the same, like the advanced settings, and pretty much all the detailed stuff still remains same. It's basically just a change of theme and nothing else. Of course, internally there are several improvements. We have a new Antivirus Engine that is more in the cloud, so you'll have even lesser of a memory footprint, and you'll also have smaller updates. So that should be good news for some, but at the same time, having more signatures in the cloud also means that the detection ratio may take a dip. Now, as you can see, they have quite a few options. We have our auto protect, the removable media scan, sonar, which is their behavioral blocker, cloud-based, and we have sonar advanced mode, and we can mess with these settings a little to turn it off or too aggressive, but I will leave it at automatic. And basically, I'm not going to change any of its settings because this is just a pretty basic test. I don't want to mess with any of the settings for now. This is the first time I'm using this program. And they do have their advanced stuff, like you've got your identity protection, performance, you can run your tune-ups. But I'm not a big fan of these tools that Norton provides. They're next to useless in most cases, and you can just use the Windows tools. They do just as good of a job. So it's nothing more than just a marketing gimmick. But having said that, let's get straight to security. Now, previously I've tested Norton, and it seems to have a strong advantage in the web prevention test. So this time, instead of just doing the web prevention test while testing the beta, I decided to test it out against some malware in the form of files, because that had been its weak point in previous versions. But having said that, it did do pretty well in my last test. Now, as promised, the memory usage is really low. It's only about like 15 megabytes. That's really low for a complete security suite. They have a firewall, IDS, all that kind of stuff, so this memory usage is really impressive. But keep in mind, this is because they're doing most of the stuff in the cloud, so your security is going to be greatly reduced if you are offline. But anyway, let's get to the test. I've got 97 files over here, and they're all fairly new, ranging from basically a couple of days old to maybe 5-6 days old. And let's do a scan and first try to find out what kind of a detection ratio Norton can manage. Now let me just show you that it is up to date. I just updated it a moment ago, so it should be completely patched and up to date. Still checking. I have noticed that the update size has been reduced significantly from several hundred megabytes to just a 40 or 50 megabytes in this version. So that is a good thing if you have limited bandwidth. Okay, as you can see, it's completely up to date. Now let's see how good the scan is. Now, Norton has a weird way of scanning. It basically just does it in a very weird way. There's the scan, and then there's the detection, and then there's the removal. Now, how can you scan first and then start detecting? Because scanning and detecting should at least be the same thing, right? So their terminology is quite confusing over here. But let's see how many it can remove. That is the important thing. Your scan is pretty slow, probably because of the fact that it has to check most of the files in the cloud. So I'll pause the video and I'll be back when it's done. The scan says that most of the threats have been resolved, but some still need to be removed, and the way of doing that is you have to restart in order to remove some of these threats. So I will restart the system, and I'll do one more scan because Norton has this habit of catching stuff again and again in subsequent scans. So I'll just do one more scan and I'll show you guys the results of that. Of course, I'll restart first. So let me just show you that I am indeed going to reboot the system. There we go. So I rebooted the system, did another scan, and nothing was caught. Now, just for comparison, because these samples are pretty different, I'm going to tell you what MCSoft detected on these. So MCSoft managed a detection ratio of 94.85%, almost 95%, and let's see what Norton has managed. So we have 15 items left over. All of these are threats. I do have some threats in other formats like HTML docs and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, these were the samples I used in the MCSoft test as well. So looks like we're left with 15 files. So that gives us a detection ratio of 84.5%, which is okay, I guess, but not very impressive. Pretty much what I expected from Norton. It could have been lower, could have been higher, but it's right in the middle. So let's run some of these threats and see if their sonar and their advanced behavioral blocking and stuff, which is very dependent on the internet, is able to protect us. So as you can see, we're connected. Let's try running some of these. This one has an AVG icon. Seems to be running just fine. Let's try running this one. Once again, Norton decides to stay silent. This one's not going to work anymore. Finally, Sonar has found something. Let's see what it is. Alright, so it caught this file and it's been removed. And now it's finding something else. Sonar is pretty slow to respond on threats, so you may get to see Sonar doing the blocking much later after executing the malware. So now this is where it gives me the option to exercise my judgment. It says this program is behaving suspiciously and removal is recommended, so I'm going to do that. This is probably going to take us to some malicious website. Alright, so it doesn't look like it did much. So here's one more threat. And it says restart is required to remove it. Norton says this page is safe. And now it needs me to reboot in order to remove most of the malware. So that's what I'll do since I've run mostly all of these files. I'm just going to reboot the computer and then we'll just get rid of these files, and then I'll do a couple of scans and let's see what Norton has missed, if it has missed anything. All our second opinion scanners have given Norton the thumbs up, starting with Hitman Pro, Malwarebytes, and finally McAfee Stinger. So it's pretty clear now that this computer is clean. So my first impressions on this brand new Norton Security product is really good. It does the job, and it's lighter and faster than ever, and it gets the job done. We saw the sonar, it was pretty responsive, and it caught all the zero-day unknown malware that Norton couldn't catch with its signatures, and the signatures themselves are not that great, but that is not a concern if you have a good zero-day component to back that up, and Norton definitely has that. My only concern is this thing is going to be terrible if you do not have a working internet connection. So for those of you who are not always online, this is not the right security product. But if you are always online, well, I mean, I see no reason why this wouldn't do well. But having said that, this is the beta. I haven't really tested it in depth. This was just a quick little test with very few malware samples, so I won't be jumping to too many conclusions in this test, but my first impressions are great, and I'll definitely be testing their final version whenever it comes out, and if it does continue to perform as well as it has done today, I think it will make it to my recommended list of products. So thanks for watching, have a nice day, stay tuned to the P Security channel, and well, I'll see you guys in the next P Security channel video.